it's Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Today I'm going to be planning a memory spread in my memory planner, which is an Aura Estelle A5 wide cloud planner, and this is my 2020 memory planner, and I am going to be filling this out for the week of November 9th, and I will be using this Paper Muse Crafts kit called Scarlett. Super cute with gold foil. It is a 4-page mini kit, but you kind of get everything you need to get on with. 3 of the pages are foiled. This page is not. And you do get all the date covers and sidebar stuff, etc. So I am just going to go ahead and pull out these pages and jump in, and I will catch you up with everything that's been going on the voiceover.
Okay, so this is actually the last of the videos where I pre-recorded the base of the spread, so that's why the lighting's a little funny, and I have like the pink background, which is actually a print-pression, one of those like giant desk mats, which I have 2 of them, and I absolutely love them. But anyway, I recorded this, I think back in like December or January, just when I had like some downtime. I actually just did it like on the floor in one of the kids' bedrooms while they were at school, and so that was like a while ago, and this is the last one that I had done like that. Like I did that like for a couple of weeks while I just was like to relax. I had missed stickering so much while we were like in the throes of construction and moving and all of that. And I took so much time off, and I really just like felt like doing it, but I didn't have all my stuff out. I didn't have my stuff set up, and like the office was pretty much the last thing that was finished. So anyway, I did pre-record that, and then it was so super weird to like come back to it, which I did like last week, to come back and like film the day by day. And it's also just like super weird to think about to try and like think through what I did then, like look at my notes. This was the sort of beginning of my crazy busy work run, where I had like picked up a job from a client that had like ended up getting delayed slightly, and then it was just supposed to run like through November and then like into the beginning of December, which it did. It ended up like finishing on time and going super well and stuff. But then I had picked up another job for December. Well, it was supposed to be for December, and then that one ended up getting moved up early. So I ended up being so busy, and like this week was like kind of the beginning of that. The week after this was absolutely insane, but and like the week of Thanksgiving was so crazy. But honestly, through the end of the year, or at least like through sort of the Christmas break, I was so busy with work stuff. It was like very unpleasant. I had way too much going on, and like usually I feel like that's always how it is for me. Either I have like absolutely no work and nothing to do, or I have just like more than I could possibly do in like a reasonable work schedule amount of time. And that was this time period, but it ended up being like really good because I pretty much not worked like since before the baby was born. Before this period, I just was doing my like one little regular Monday thing, and then I only took like a couple weeks off from that because it's not that much work like after the baby was born. But I didn't pick up any projects, and then the kids were like out of school all spring and everything, and I had a baby, so I just like didn't pick up any like additional work for most of the year. And then with how much work I picked up like right at the end of the year, like from the end of October through the end of the year, I ended up making almost the same that I made the year before, which I work freelance. So I was like really proud of myself for that, but also like I feel like that speaks to how much work I did in like November and December that I ended up making up like for almost all of the income that I lost because of like the coronavirus in the spring and like being home with the kids. So yeah, anyway, it was a pretty insane time. You're going to see just like a lot of work stuff, a lot of meetings, that kind of stuff, and then like regular kiddo stuff. We also had like a lot of house stuff going on this week. We had like a bunch of we were still in like kind of decision making time here. We had made like a lot of the decisions before we moved in, but there was like we were doing stuff with like the tile lays and finalizing where we wanted outlets in the upstairs this week. And there ended up being like this really big problem with the tiles, that like our bathroom tiles, and they like couldn't figure out what was going on, blah blah blah. And then anyways, it was like this whole like 2-week drama, and then it just turned out that we had been given the wrong order by the store by accident. It was just like a really similar looking tile to the one that we had ordered, and that's why like the counts were so off. So anyway, it was all resolved, and it didn't cost us anything to resolve or anything, but it was just like one of those funny things that happened. Like the store had just loaded in the wrong order. But yeah, anyway, that is pretty much what happened this week. I don't like super remember the specifics, but I do remember like the projects that I was working on and like the different work stuff. And I also just remember being like really, really frustrated with one of my clients at this point and in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, on this Monday, I overslept apparently, and then it was just like a very chaotic morning. I like sleeping in. I love sleeping in. I feel like the kids never sleep in on the weekends and like let us sleep. We don't set alarms. That's just like, we have 3 kids under 5. They just wake us up. But like every once in a while, like you'll just hit that sleep lottery and everyone will like sleep past 7:15 or whatever. But then some days that's just like not okay. And the construction workers were at our house like by 8 every morning. Usually before that, that we told them that was fine. Obviously, we just like, wanted them to get on, and that way they could be done by the time kids were done school and everything, and like have worked a full day and all of that. But so they were like at our house really early, and then I have to like get dressed every morning, and I was like making the beds and like getting everything set up. We were sleeping. My husband and I were like, I know I'm not really doing the day by day, but whatever. My husband and I were like mostly sleeping on the sofa bed at this point because we didn't want to share a room with the baby because she just needed her own space, and somehow that ended up with her in a crib in a room with a king size bed while my husband and I were sleeping on a sleeper sofa. So the kids are king of the household. But anyway, that was just like that. And then on Monday I just did a bunch of work, and I worked that night as well, and then I took a bath. And then on Tuesday we ran to Dunkin' Donuts, and I took the kids to my dad's house. We were getting a lot of childcare help at this point from grandparents still. Like honestly, my dad's like not the most helpful with the kids, and he's also like working, and we just go and kind of like invade his space. But but it is really fun. But my mother-in-law and my mom were coming over a lot at this point to help while I was so busy with work, and neither of them were working really at that point, and they're both back to work now, thankfully. But yeah, so anyway, we were lucky to have that sort of help. And then I had a work call, and I pretty much again just worked all day this day, and then we were watching The Queen's Gambit on TV at this point. It's funny to like look back on what TV shows we were watching or what books I read, like what I don't know, stuff that's going on. It feels like simultaneously so recent, but also so long ago. Again, on Wednesday, I just worked all day. So I actually used this big Crafts by Towie desk to mark the work, since I like never get to use big stickers like that, and I didn't really have anything else to work. I marked what I was specifically working on, and then I also did like a library book exchange, like dropped off my books and picked up some new ones, and then just watched some TV and relaxed that night. So yeah, like I said, mostly it's just me working every single day here, which is like not usually what my weeks are like, but sometimes when I'm really busy. And yeah, and this was definitely really busy, and the week after this was like crazy too, so more of it coming. And then on Thursday, my mother-in-law came over, and one of the work things that I was working on finished this Thursday and published, which was really nice because then I could focus on the other 9 million things that I had on my plate at this point. And I was doing this project with like with a client that involved like a bunch of calls and like slide reviews and stuff like that. So I have a lot of calls over this, which I don't usually do like a ton of calls because like I said, I work freelance, so I mostly work alone, but I was working in collaboration with like a couple of other people on this team on this consulting project. So I had like a lot of like work calls and stuff. But yeah, anyway, that night I took a bath and did a face mask and just hung out with my husband. So wasn't having to work every single night this week, which is nice. Anyway, on Friday, I did some more work, and then my husband came home for lunch and brought home these really yummy cheesesteaks. And then I just had like some unwinding time. I played some computer games, I drank some wine, and we finished The Queen's Gambit that night on TV. So it was just nice to get like a relaxing day. Yeah, and then this weekend, actually, which I know I'm not quite up to Friday yet, but this weekend we went to my parents' beach house, and this ended up being the last time we went to my parents' beach house, still like through this day in March, which we're actually planning to go over spring break while the kids are out of school, because it's not in the same state as us, and there's been like a travel restriction and the kids are in school. So we, obviously, and so it's really hard for us to quarantine. So we didn't want to travel because like we don't want to have to pull them out of school to quarantine after traveling to the beach house. So we just haven't been going. So this ended up being the last weekend that we went, because after this, our state put a travel restriction in place so that you couldn't travel out of state without quarantining. So we stopped going. Obviously, it's not like beach weather. We're on the East Coast. It's the beach house is in New Jersey. But this ended up being, and we didn't know it at the time, this ended up being our last trip for the while. It was nice because to go like during construction, because then the kids could one, it's always just great to have a change of scenery for the kids, but also like then the workers could be in the house all weekend working on stuff, which is also nice because they were like really trying to get done, since we were like kind of running way behind schedule at this point. And we knew we weren't going to be done until we were hoping at this point to be done at the end of the year. We ended up finishing in early January. But yeah. And so this was our last weekend. We went to the beach. I saw one of my friends for like an outside walk, and just kind of like hung out. We got some good takeout, all that kind of stuff. I'm really looking forward to going. We're going to go while the kids are over spring break, although we will not be doing lots and lots of takeout because it will also be Passover, which makes the eating challenging. Sorry for all like the weird cuts at the end here. My camera was really overheated, and I didn't realize it, and it just like kept cutting out, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Eventually I realized it was like overheating. It's pretty warm in my office with like being upstairs, and we had some really warm weather last week, and then under the lights it just makes things very hot. So I will have to keep an eye on that for this summer. But anyway, so we just spent the day at the beach, kind of did all our favorite things. We went to a playground. It was, like I said, too cold for the beach, but nice to be outside, and it was actually still fairly warm at this point. And then we just drove home and did all our usual Sunday stuff like meal prep and get ready for the week and all of that. So it was a really busy week, but a really nice kind of weekend. And that is pretty much everything. I am just filling this all out. I didn't use any foil scripts. I just was feeling kind of overwhelmed at the end of this spread with how much the camera was cutting out. So I just decided to fill it out all by pen. Sometimes I find like the foil scripts like very overwhelming, even though I absolutely love the way they look. And I'm really liking my new foil organization. Like I put all of the scripts in their own binder or in their own photo albums instead of having them in with like all my icons. And I think that that's working a lot better, since I usually do them at the end of the spread, whereas like the icons I pre-pull in advance. So, but anyway, I am excited that I finally got this done. This was my favorite kit of the fall that I bought, I think. Like I just thought this was so pretty from Paper Muse Crafts and like so unusual. And yeah, that is it.
Okay, that is everything all finished up. I just think this came out so cute. I did just finish up with like a last little bits of flourishes off camera, since my camera did keep just cutting out there at the end. Let me show you what I have left from the kit. Not a ton, but a few little functional items and some of like the deco-y stuff that I didn't use, etc. And I do have one full box left. Actually, that one's really cute. And yeah, but that is everything. So if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I'd love it if you'd subscribe and check me out on Instagram at mycraftyplans to keep up with everything going on in my planners. Bye!